Woo! What's going on, guys? Orm's Forum coming at you with another video, and this is the third time I've tried this video. I just want to introduce all our draftees that the Detroit Lions drafted over the weekend. I tried to do the first video for the first round yesterday. I wanted everything to clear up and then start making these videos. I'm always a day late and $1 short. I think that's okay, but I've been trying to do these videos and for some reason it will not upload. Hopefully third time's a charm, but I want to introduce the first guy, Detroit Lions draft defensive tackle, nose tackle, TYLEIK Williams, right out of OSU, Ohio State Buckeyes, at 28th overall first round. Lions go big in the first round and draft a massive defensive tackle, run stopper, elite run stopper. He also has a little bit of pass rush ability, which he showed as a freshman a few years back. 22 years old, 6'3", 330 plus pounds. 4 years in college at Ohio State, Big Ten. 51 games, 136 tackles, 28 tackles for loss, 4 quarterback hits, 1 forced fumble, 1 fumble recovery, 10 pass deflections, 11 and a half sacks, and a touchdown, a scoop and score. Now, I'm not going to try to make this a draft analyst. I'm not going to make a draft profile or anything like that. I'm going to throw in some of that a little bit, just kind of tell you what type of player he is and what he isn't. But I know a lot of people did not want a first-round defensive tackle, but I understand the pick. I'm not a guy that gives out grades. I never really like to do that. I've done it in the past, but I'm not big on grades. I can always give you opinions of what I think about that player, before the draft, during the season, after the season. But grades, I've never been a really big on grades. But he's joining a defensive line, and let's talk about the defensive tackles, nose tackles first. What TYLEIK Williams is he isn't your traditional nose tackle. Yes, he's a space eater, takes on double teams, pushes the pocket a little bit, you know what I mean? He's got that pass rush ability, but he is an elite run defender. With pass rush ability, like I said a couple minutes ago. But he's joining a squad with DJ Reader, a nose tackle, Roy Lopez, another nose tackle, Pat O'Connor, nose tackle kind of slash DT, and Broderick Martin, another nose tackle, if you will. Right now on the depth chart, if you're to look at it right now, DJ Reader is basically your number one nose tackle on this team, and TYLEIK Williams is number 2. He's backing up DJ Reader. Now, during the season, I think you're going to see a lot of DJ Reader and TYLEIK Williams probably starting her off. You're going to see some Roy Lopez in there as well, too, that we acquired from the Arizona Cardinals. It wasn't a trade. It was a free agency move. And this defense is big on rotation anyways. Aaron Glenn is gone. He's a New York Jet now. He's the head coach of the New York Jets. Kelvin Shepard took over. He was the linebacker coach, assistant to Aaron Glenn last couple of years, and they gave him the reins as new defensive coordinator. So I don't see much change there. I don't know how aggressive Kelvin Shepard's going to be, but that's a whole other video. But as of right now, TYLEIK Williams is going to get some significant playing time, especially with Lee McNeil still rehabbing from last year's injury and probably being out until Thanksgiving. Now, if you want to talk about the defensive ends, we got Aiden Hutchinson, obviously Marcus Davenport. Those are 2 starters with Pascal, El Quadra Muhammad, who I like that they brought back, Mitchell Agude, and then the rookie Ahmad Hassanein. I don't know if I'm butchering his name, but I'm trying to get that right. But and then still with the nose tackles, D tackles, I kind of brushed on the nose tackles. Aleem McNeil is a D tackle. Levi Muzurike, who can bounce inside and outside. And then Makai Wingo, Miles Adams, and then Chris Smith, who's kind of been around for a couple of years. He's joining that group, that D-line group. And it's a solid D-line group. I think there's still a lack of pass rush. Not going to get into what's going to happen there, not until we talk about the defensive end that they drafted in the 6th round. But I'm not talking about Ahmed. I'm not talking about the rook. So I'm talking about the other rook, TYLEIK Williams. So what you're going to get out of Williams. And like I said, I'm not making this a draft analysis. I'm not making a draft profile, but this is what he is, man. He's an elite run defender. He's got pass rush ability. Remember, he had 5 sacks as a freshman. Came into OSU, 360 pounds. Kind of transformed himself, lost about 30 pounds plus, and ended up, being a first-round pick in the NFL. Some people think he was a first-round pick. Some people think he was a second-round pick. My opinion, I thought he was a second-round pick, but we picked 28th, so it's not that far off. But I understand the pick, and I'll keep trying to convince myself that it was a decent pick. I thought there was a couple players on there that I liked better, but I understand the pick, and I'm not mad at the pick. I think this pick could end up being very nice. I really do, especially when Aleem and TYLEIK get to play together as one. And then you're going to get a disruptive player. You're going to get a kid that pushes the pocket, explosive, good speed for a big fella. Not really your traditional space eater, nose tackle, like I said. He can play up on the nose, the 1 tech, the 3 tech, the 5 tech. He can bounce all around the line. That's what he did in college, okay? Play a little 5 tech on the outside at Ohio State, which is pretty impressive. which is pretty impressive. He's very athletic. He's another guy that Brad Holmes loves with the athletics. He loves the athletics. He loves those RAS scores, relative athletic score. He loves it. And I'm pretty sure Brad Holmes got, there was a poll, whatever it was. I don't even know who was doing it, but the Lions did get like the 3rd most athletic draft in the NFL 2025. Pretty sure the Raiders were number 1. Maybe Miami number 2, don't know, but the Lions were right up there. They love their athletics. And then you got Coach Campbell, you got Dan Campbell out here comparing TYLEIK Williams to Lee McNeil, where they think kind of Lee McNeil is right now. Lee McNeil is a good ball player, man. Good ball player, but just can't stay healthy. He's been a guy that can't stay healthy as well, and it's a little concerning. He's still rehabbing. He's coming back eventually. They say Thanksgiving. Hopefully it's a little bit earlier, but that's the rumor right now, the scuttlebutt. So if he's a Liam McNeil, and Liam McNeil kind of transformed himself too, came in as a 3rd-round pick a few years back, more of a space eater, more of a traditional kind of like run-stopping defensive tackle, didn't really push the pocket much, a little bit. He had some of that ability, and then he kind of transformed his body a little bit, lost a little bit of weight, thinned down, acquired some pass rush moves, worked on that craft. He became a little bit of a better defensive tackle through the pass rush, not just being able just to be one-dimensional and stopping the run. And Dan Campbell thinks that that's where kind of TYLEIK Williams is. He's kind of like the Aleem McNeil of college, coming into the fold of the Detroit Lions. We've yet to see that. We don't know. It's still early, but that's why they picked him up. And if he's anything like McNeil, we got ourselves a really good player. Just hopefully he can stay healthy. So when we talk about these defensive tackles that came out and these nose tackles, Williams was ranked probably you would see him ranked between number 2 and number 5 for the interior defensive lineman. Personally, I had him at number 4. There's Mason Graham, who I really, really liked from the Michigan Wolverines. Walter Nolan, Arizona Cardinals, who I liked a lot too. Kenneth Grant, another Wolverine who went to the Dolphins. The Graham went to the Browns, by the way. Then Derek Harmon, another really good defensive tackle that played at Oregon, went to the Steelers. So I had TYLEIK Williams kind of sandwiched between Grant and Harmon. Kind of sandwiched right there as my number 4 interior D lineman. He wasn't the best out there. Graham was obviously the best. Nolan was up there. Nolan was one of my favorite prospects at that position, per se. And but TYLEIK Williams is a good ball player, and I know he's getting a lot of flack. Holmes is getting a lot of flack for making this pick. There's a lot of YouTubers upset. There's a lot of Lions fans that are clearly upset about this pick. Williams is going to play. Williams is going to play. Now, I think if Aleem McNeil would have been healthy, we still had Reeder, I don't know if that pick would have necessarily been defensive tackle. I don't know. Because Reeder's only on a one-year thing. I think he's 31, 32 years old, whatever he is. He's up there in age. That's old for a football player, and he plays a pretty grueling position where he's getting hammered every play by one or two guys at the, you know what I mean? He's just getting blocked, low, high, whatever. He's getting beat up. He's getting beat up inside. So, would TYLEIK Williams have been the pick if Aleem would have been healthy? I'm going to say no, but I don't know. I can't tell you what Brad Holmes is going to do. I know, just like people, let me tell you a little something, man. A little something. Brad Holmes, and this is every NFL GM. They don't have the same boards as you. They don't. They don't have the same boards as you. I mean, you might have some, but you'll never know. You'll never be able to see Brad Holmes' board unless they do one of those, kind of live scenes where they kind of show the war room and stuff like that, and you get a quick glimpse. But you're not going to get Brad Holmes. You're not going to get the Howie Rosemans. You're not going to get those guys' NFL boards. Like, everybody had Cam Ward number 1. That doesn't necessarily mean that Brad Holmes did. You know what I mean? It's different. It pretty much goes by their team and what they think is going to happen, and they go from there. It's a crapshoot, the draft. It's wheeling and dealing. It's trades. The Lions did stay put at 28 though, and they took this kid. He's not the best. He's not the best player at that position in this draft, but it filled the need. And Brad Holmes, to tell you, I don't necessarily care about need. I think he kind of filled the need here. He filled the need here. He can tell you whatever he wants. In my opinion, I think they needed to kind of go this route. I understand this route. But like I said, there was a couple guys I liked better. That doesn't mean this pick is bad. I'm not grading it either. So who knows what Kelvin Shepard's going to do with this. They got Casey Rogers, who they brought in from Tampa Bay Buccaneers as our new D-line coach and our new run defensive coordinator. Got a player for game by game. So he's great in the run. He's great with these D-linemen. He had some really good D-linemen in Tampa Bay, Casey Rogers. We got some guys that have some ability. We'll see what happens from there. But that was the pick, man. Bottom line, you're getting an elite run defender, and you're getting a guy that has pass rush ability. If you watch the highlights, and I suggest you just don't watch highlights, like when it comes to football players, because any schmuck or schmo can put up a highlight reel and look like a number 1 pick or a first round pick. Any player can do it. Hell, I could do it. You know what I mean? Anybody can do it. So just don't watch highlights. Get your hands on some game tape, the all 22, whatever you need to do. Whatever you need to do to, to help you kind of understand that player more. It's just I took that advice before from another YouTuber, and it's paid off on how I look at football players to this day. Because YouTube videos and highlight reels are fun. They are. They're like, look at that guy. That guy looks like a first round pick. He's amazing. Meanwhile, the guy's a 4th round pick. You know what I mean? So don't be fooled by just YouTube highlight videos. Take a look at this TYLEIK Williams kid. Watch his game plan. Watch him play. Watch him interact with other players, his teammates. Just watch what type of player he is on the field. And then you'll get a better grasp of what that player is. It's just an opinion. I took that advice. I ran with it. And I think I've looked at players a lot different than I used to. Because I used to look at just highlight videos as well. And it's not necessarily fair. It's just not fair. It's just because there's more to it. Highlight reels are just, they're highlight reels. There's nothing negative about it. You gotta see how the player fights through adversity. You gotta see how he handles double teams, getting beat up in the trenches, coming back for more. You gotta see what kind of mentality the kid is, as well as his physicality. So it's like there's a lot to it when you watch pure game tape, all 22s, and you get your hands on as much tape as you can. But highlight reels are fun. Don't get me wrong. Don't take him out of your arsenal. I'm just telling you. But that was our pick, guys. That was our pick out of Ohio State University. And hey, I'm not biased. Michigan Wolverine, baby. Wolverines all the way. But I don't get like that when it comes to my favorite football team, Ndamukong Suh, by the way. No, it fits. It fits. Sue isn't Williams. Williams isn't Sue. I'm not comparing, but it's a D-line shirt, jersey. And you just got to be like, look at it in a positive light. Don't be so negative with it. But don't be a homer as well. Don't be a homer as well. You can still like other players. This isn't a bad pick. I understand what they did. I'm not going to talk about the whole draft right now. This is just one video. I still got 6 more to go. Hopefully this one uploads because I've tried to do it twice. And this is the 3rd time, like I said. So we're getting a good player, guys. We're getting a good players. We're getting a guy that's going to stop the run. We're getting a guy that's has pass rush ability. Like I said, 5 sacks as a freshman. Kind of lost that groove or whatever, lost that magic. And he ended up with 11.5 sacks through his 4-year college career. But it probably could have been more. It probably could have been more. I don't know what really happened to him the last 2nd, 3rd, and 4th years. So, that's kind of a little bit of a mystery. I don't have that luxury of finding that out. Guys like guys like Dan Campbell, Brad Holmes, they have that luxury of kind of digging a little deeper to find out what he is. And they already think this guy has 3-down ability. Right now, it seems like he's just a 2-downer. 2-down ability, stop the run, come off the field sometimes, as of right now. But we'll see. That could change. You don't want your 1st-round pick just to be a 2-down player. You want him to be 3 downs all day, every day. Of course, he's going to get a rinse every now and then, some rest. But as of right now, I think he's just a 2-down guy. But that's not necessarily a bad thing because I think they can unleash or open up that pass rush ability that he had as a freshman. So remember, it's there. So hey, good pick. Not the pick that a lot of people wanted. Not necessarily the pick I wanted, but I understand the pick. Well, that's it, guys. TYLEIK Williams, Ohio State University, Ohio State Buckeyes, 28th overall, nose tackle, defensive tackle, kind of. He's not your traditional. He's more of a tweener. Let's call him that. He's more of a tweener, not a nose tackle, not a defensive tackle. Got crazy athletic ability for a 330-plus pound man. He really does. So we'll see what happens with that. Hopefully this one uploads, guys. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button on the bottom right. Don't forget to hit the notification bell. Don't forget to like, comment, share this out. Grit, Detroit versus everybody. Let's go, guys. Boom.